Let's take a look at some Matrix stuff here. So to begin with, we have this smartly dressed character, female character in all black. We have two characters, right? We have Death here on the left with slicked back hair, and both of these characters, Trinity and Death, Princess Death, they make no bones about just like passing between worlds, right? They're both kind of doing that. And shortly after they appear to the hero in each story, they serve to ferry him from one realm to the next. Okay, so definitely some creative inspiration from Cocteau's film made it to Trinity here in The Matrix. And then we have this whole transmission motif where signals are being used even when Princess Death steals Eurydice away steals her into the underworld. A similar thing is happening with Morpheus, or maybe we can call him Orpheus, when they attempt to steal Neo away from the control of the machines, right? And they're using the signal. So this motif of the signal, the transmission, right? The transit between worlds, space and time, all this stuff is happening. I mean, basically the Matrix film was made in 1950. And then we have the placement of the classical statues and busts, which are in a few key places in Twin Peaks. And they're seemingly peppered all around Cocteau's film Orpheus. So I would imagine in France you probably wouldn't have to look very hard to find these sort of statues. I know I've been there a handful of times, and I've seen many in gardens and random places and things like that. So this isn't like entirely out of place, and it's like, hey, why not? And Cocteau's homage to classical Greece seems fitting to include so many sculptures. And of course, we have this iconic sculpture in Twin Peaks, and then there's another sculpture right in the hallway in the Red Room. There's this like hallway of curtains. There's another sculpture, and I think there's some other ones too that exist. But I see, this is just a beautiful homage and a wonderful homage to Cocteau. Now, Lynch, here's another interesting inspiration. Lynch seems to have taken inspiration for that mysterious sound that you hear in the Red Room when the arm is rubbing his hands together, right? I think he took inspiration from Cocteau's film, because a very similar tone is heard when Princess Death passes through the mirror. She's passing from the underworld to the world of the living, or the zone to the world of storage. She passes through the mirror. You hear a very similar sound. So I'm going to play both of these sounds for comparison. It's also worth mentioning there's also an eerie tone that is heard just before Neo is rescued in the Matrix and wakes up in the real world. So that tone is also there and sound is a very, very, very important element, right? You don't have to, no one needs to tell you that. So also the shadow on the curtain in the Red Room. This one just bugged the crap out of me in the last series. That passes during this moment in the Red Room. The arms rubbing his hands together, and you have this sound, and you have this shadow. You have sight, sound, you have this tactile. All of the senses, right, are coming in and out. And so there's this transiting between worlds. And this shadow signifies this passing from one world to another. That's pretty clear. And just like Orpheus pursuing Eurydice into the underworld, Agent Cooper's pursuing Laura's killer, or he's pursuing Laura into the underworld in a similar way. So this theme of Orpheus and Eurydice is alive and well in Lynch's work. So on the next slide, I'm going to play. Hopefully this isn't too loud or too drawn out, but I'm gonna play the sound from Orpheus first. So that's gonna play now. Okay, so that's as Princess Death comes through the mirror. And then here it is in Twin Peaks. So you can also hear the arm rubbing his hands together. Okay. So hopefully that was loud enough. But very, very similar And again, just an homage, really, a beautiful tribute. And even so, onto the next thing here, even the backwards dialogue that's in the Red Room seems inspired by Cocteau's film, as he seems to have pioneered at least implemented some reversal techniques in his film, which still hold up. I mean, they look amazing. There's this scene where Death smashes this mirror, and she walks through it into this dark void, and then behind her, after she walks into the mirror just kind of, it's just reversing the film, but the way it's done is just beautiful, and it just kind of reconstructs itself. And this is what we're seeing in the middle panel here from the film Orpheus. We're seeing the broken mirror just kind of reconstitute itself like it was like it never broke. And so there's several of those elements that happen. And so even in the Matrix, the black cat, for example, that Neo sees, this deja vu scene, it seems to relate to Cocteau's own work in some strange way, as well, of course, as Philip K. Dick's theories. That goes without saying. And also, I can't quite make, I may need some help with this, but I can't quite make out what that painting is behind the cat. But it kind of looks like something Edgar Degas may have done, or some sort of, maybe it's an homage to Cocteau. I can't really tell. And I really tried to make it out to see if it was, but it just looks like, I don't know. It's kind of worn, and it's not incredibly obvious, but it's some sort of painting or something, because it's got a frame. So I'm just wondering what the heck that is. And speaking of Degas, I did show one of his pieces a lot earlier. I don't know if anyone caught this, but it's just a goofy thing. But Edgar Degas gets a nod or a not so obvious mention in Twin Peaks season 3, episode 8, for what it's worth, in the phone. With Mr. C following the truck, and he puts in the license plate of the truck. Okay, the autocorrect comes up, and you can see Degas there on the right. So that may, I think that may be an homage to Degas. Just a fun little thing there. Also, there are a lot of other Matrix tie-ins with Cocteau's work. I love all the scenes with these fashionably dressed characters in these rundown, dilapidated Art Deco style interior spaces. And this is a direct rip from Cocteau's Orpheus. And when I say rip, I mean, I'm not saying it's a rip off. I'm saying it's just a direct influence. And you can see this in Cocteau's film as well. There's all of these wonderful interior spaces that are just completely run down, but everyone in those spaces is smartly dressed. I think it's wonderful. And if you look carefully under Morpheus's arm, you can see a Greek-style statuette on the table. This makes me think like The Matrix, or actually I should say, I like The Matrix more now that I know some of these influences that I didn't know before. Obviously, the Wachowskis took inspiration from a great film like Orpheus, so I encourage you to see that if you haven't yet seen that. And I also get the strange sense that Hertebis, which is Death's assistant, is the daemon of Orpheus. So this is just a theory of mine, but like kind of a weird thing that came to me, and I don't really have any receipts for this, but I think it feels like just the way these characters relate to each other. I get this intuitive sense that Hertebis is the daemon of Orpheus, and that he guides Orpheus into the underworld, and that Princess Death is actually the daemon of Eurydice. It's quite a curious thing that Hertebis should fall in love with Eurydice, and Princess Death should fall in love with Orpheus in the film, which is interesting. Things are far beyond what they seem in Cocteau's film, I would say, and I may just be scratching the surface to that, to which these subtle and hidden relationships do seem to abound also in Twin Peaks. So Lynch does explore these notions in some very complex ways as well over the course of that show. So I could spend years analyzing Twin Peaks to death, but I feel as if I may have already tried too much I hope not, but I may have already sucked the life out of some of it in a sense. Although I don't really think so. I mean, there's so much more to cover that I'm just not going to cover. I have other projects and things. So, however, I think Twin Peaks is going to keep giving future generations something to ponder for a long time. Just like Cocteau's work or any great artist, I mean, their works are truly timeless, okay? They're not bound by the actualities or the trends of the day that are just forgotten, several weeks later. If you go back and look at a lot of like so-called relevant content on YouTube, and you go back as far as like a year, all that information is completely irrelevant. No one cares about it. And, it's just there for some kind of like peculiar reference. But, these eternal works of artists like David Lynch and Jean Cocteau, these are going to stand the test of time, right? You essentially have the Matrix film in 1950. If that isn't timeless, right, I don't know what is. And one other thing that comes out of my curious mind that I've been meaning to kind of look for a way to shoehorn somewhere into this video, I guess, is always bugged me, the origins of the band Cocteau Twins, right? If you're a fan of Cocteau Twins like I am, they're one of my favorite trios from that era. And so I looked it up. I went on their website, and this is from their website. Apparently, because I was thinking like, okay, is there a connection here that I can make? Apparently, they derived their name of the band from a song from Simple Minds, which is a very well-known another Scottish group that made it really big. And apparently, the name of the song, the name of the Simple Minds song, was inspired by two men who were pretentious film snobs with a fondness for the work of Jean Cocteau. So that makes me curious. That makes me wonder. These twins. What is it? Was it a Damon Eidolon pair? Was it Cocteau's actual twins? Like, I think that this story, or this origin story of the song just kind of seems a little paradoxical. It seems a little strange, a little curious. And I think that this might have been like contrived or sort of made up, which is fine. That's what art, art lies to you, but at the same time, it tells you some deep, deep truths, right? So I've always wondered about that because nobody in the Cocteau Twins had the name Cocteau, right? You have Liz Fraser, Guthrie. It was a power trio essentially, but no one was named Cocteau. I can't remember the other person's name. Nor to my knowledge, or there are several people in the band, but Liz Fraser was a fixture after she joined. She wasn't an original member, I don't think, but she is, that group, as far as I'm concerned. But the connection with Twin Peaks seems sort of interesting to me, sort of indirectly. There's some sort of connection there. But I'm an intuitive, so everything seems connected in some wacky way, so I can't help myself. Okay, well, without flogging a dead equine, I don't know if there's anything else I'm prepared to say about Twin Peaks right now. I know I could cover a lot more stuff, but I'm ready to move on to some other areas. I just want to say Lynch is pointing at something eternal with his work, just like every great artist, something that really is not going to be irrelevant ever. Just like the work of Jean Cocteau and, am I saying it right? Cocteau? Let me know. And countless artists which came before him. However, art has always been more about challenging your presumptions and investigating reality for yourself rather than just being a spectator, rather than just accepting what you're given, okay? That's not art. That's indoctrination. That's just bullshit. That's not artistic expression. So how it affects you, how art affects you, and what it inspires you to create, how to think, what to do with that information, the conversion process, right? What are you going to do with that? That's the most important thing. That's the takeaway, I think, among some of the secret of secrets that were revealed in this video, or in this video series. So don't ever forget that. You have to participate with the process. You have to interact with the process, or else what's the point? There is a lot of nonsense entertainment out there, I just want to say. And, you know, that shouldn't at all be confused with the kind of art that makes you question your entire notion of reality, question yourself, right? Because anything that does assist you in questioning, that's truly something special, something that makes you really like, what the hell is going on here? You know, the less sense something makes, the better, I think, because it means there is something to be learned, or there's some sea of potentialities and possibilities that exist for you to explore and you to grow into, okay? Or on the other hand, maybe it's just some profound nonsense after all. Probably both. That's what great artists do, right? So if you are still watching, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the video. And please, in closing, take a moment to support my work at ReInstallPaul.com/support. I have to pay for my website, my video hosting in some way, and I'm working on actually releasing How to Understand the Occult in a way that's going to really pretty much just be like a comprehensive guide and help you understand in as definitive a way as possible. So if I was able to open your perspective and open your perception and show you something that was really interesting and profound to you through this video series, please consider supporting my work. Check out my my early release book, How to Understand the Occult. I have a trivium education program. I have so much more than what this donator content front page is showing. So your donations help me pay for my website, video hosting, all that kind of stuff, and support my work. So I thank you so much for watching this video, and thanks to all my supporters. I really, really appreciate you so much. Okay, well, that's a wrap for this one, and bye for now.